Welcome. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Fort Dobbs through the historiographical lens. We're going to be looking at the study of Fort Dobbs. James McPherson of the American Historical Association said, quote, "Revision is the lifeblood of historical scholarship. As historians, we need to constantly reevaluate and re-examine the historic record. We're always looking for new facts to shape and further develop our interpretation of the past." Now, we have a question here that has been nagging us for a long time and nagged the people that were before us. The ditch. What was it used for? Why was it dug? In the fall of 1755, when Governor Arthur Dobbs was finally able to squeeze 1,000 pounds sterling out of the North Carolina General Assembly to build a fort on the western frontier, he described it as a barrack and fort. A barracks is a building to house soldiers in. A fort is a fortified post typically surrounded by some type of wall and/or ditch. By early 1756, Governor Dobbs called it a stockadoed fort. In the fall of 1756, the colony sent a team to inspect Fort Dobbs. They left a vivid description, but that report made no mention of a ditch or stockade. Yet, as late as 1761, Governor Dobbs continued to refer to this fort as a small stockadoed fort. In the late 1960s, the North Carolina Office of State Archaeology conducted a very thorough archaeological investigation of the fort site. 4 key features were uncovered that were not mentioned in the official colony inspection of the fort: a cellar, a powder magazine, a well, and a ditch. So what's the deal with the ditch that wasn't present in the fall of 1756? The archaeologists had a theory. They hypothesized that the earth was taken out of the ditch and piled on the inside, creating a rampart into which a stockade wall was set around the fort. And this theory prevailed until about 1976. A re-examination of the site's archaeology spurned a new interpretation of the ditch. The new theory claimed that the fort was not surrounded by a parapet and stockade. Instead, the stockade was set into a trench in the bottom of the ditch, as seen in other North American blockhouses at the time. This argument was convincing and stood until 2005, when it was revised yet again. The 2005 assertion was that the ditch was merely a shallow trench used as an anchor for abattis, an obstacle of sharpened tree branches. There are quite a few holes in this new theory. First and foremost, the theory ignores the primary source descriptions, which specifically state a stockade was present. While no physical evidence of the parapet and stockade survive, it was argued that the stratigraphy of the fort's ditch fill matched that of Fort Prince George and Fort 96 in South Carolina, both of which definitely had a parapet, stockade, and ditch. Now, there are few records of abattis being used in the South until the latter stages of the American Revolution, and all of those instances, the abattis were created by the British Army, professional British soldiers, not Americans. Now, there is no physical evidence of a stockade in the bottom of the ditch, which would not have been erased by grading, farming, or road construction, all of which have occurred here over the past 200 plus years. An 8.5-foot section of stockade wall was found here, in what we believe is the northwest corner of the barracks building. This section of wall only makes sense in conjunction with a wall that stood on the outside or along the western ditch of the fort. So it seems our theory has come full circle. With no evidence of what stood on top of the ditch after 250 years of changes to this hilltop, we're left with two solid facts. Fort Dobbs was surrounded by a ditch, and Governor Dobbs understood Fort Dobbs to be stockadoed. We hope that future archaeological work here will uncover some more evidence that may help shed some new light on what the purpose of the ditch was, or at least maybe it'll close some doors on some of the theories. We will continue to reevaluate and re-examine the information and hopefully be able to present something more solid in the future. Thanks for joining us.